Because there will be comedy club.
We're set? We're live?
It seems like.
Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, welcome to this once-in-a-lifetime event. A woman that needs no introduction, who styles her satire crisp and neat. So crisp and neat that it must be broadcast from an undisclosed location. And now, for the first time, from the garden, her very own Garden of Eden, a woman that is often mistaken for Mother Nature herself. A lo and behold production, Joan Max Reinmuth Myers.
I'm dressed for last night. Last night we were going to be at the library, and I was going to be all Downton Abbey. It was going to be the library, beautiful profile, and then me, I was going to look like Mother Nature. But right now the water's coming up. I'm looking more like Gilligan's Island. Guys, could we take one more what I did for the quarantine story? Well, I've got one more. I got one more. The quarantine was all, we were all about here, Dr. Zhivago. We were Dr. Zhivago without the prom dresses and without the snow. Dan was in New York, I was here. I spent time on the Black Lives Matter corner, and I'm going to tell you, you live in a town with a lot of surprising, fair-minded people. We mostly got power salutes. We got a couple of these salutes. One guy rolled down his window and said to me, "Look around, you see any unhappy people, black people in Saugerties?" I'm like, well, I don't know. With a percentage population of .019, I mean, it's 11:30 and I got a blood alcohol level higher already. It's really not easy opening this economy, the 5 stages of opening the economy. It's a lot more trouble than the Kubler-Ross 5 stages of grieving. We got the economy. The economy is now stuck in anger and denial. Denial. Denial is going to be the My Pillow guy who spoke at the Republican convention. This guy gets up there and says he modeled his stuffing after the patriot Donald Trump. I'm like, well, where's the surprise in that? And not just because I was elected in college most likely to rage well. But this guy, My Pillow, it should only have been My Pillow. If it was My Pillow, you would have heard the real deal going on around here. The concept behind this kind of satire, which we would thank Susanna, who's at the library, but here we are, and she put a comic in with an otherwise sensible program. And people get a little nervous when there's going to be a comic in an otherwise sensible program. They know things can go rogue. But not me. Not me. I want to reassure you. I do satire. Oh, we're going to demystify satire. We're going to build one together like Build-A-Bear, only the bear goes rogue on us. So, to build a satire, you need to have a observable premise, and you need to do some diligence. So we're going to do both those things together. Just randomly off the top of my head, I'll pick a subject that is wildly popular right now. A real crowd pleaser. Voter supremacy. Well, there's something in it for everybody. We'll use that. But we'll do some diligence here. Just shout it out. Who was the father of voter supremacy? Let's listen for an answer. Your diligence, I know the answer. The name is Penny Langone. And there was an arrow pointing. So I looked up on the arrow. What is it pointing to? Who is the father of free tuition at the medical school at NYU? $100 million donated. Wait a minute. Let's go back to rich father number one. Rich father number one was Kenny Langone. Kenny Langone was also the donator of $100 million for free tuition at NYU Medical School. Not a lot of people can talk about NYU Medical School the way I can. I'm 13 years a nurse at Bellevue. Bellevue knows NYU, and I'm here to tell you, with $100 million donation, that's going to be 2 tuitions. They're cheap over at NYU, but they're expensive. So you might ask, how could the same guy be voter suppression? Let's get a look at what he did. He bought the launch that would be able to cyber collect every vote in the United States. That was big for his time. And they were able to divide every voter in the United States into categories. Now, granted, the categories were somewhat fakakta, and I'm not sure which they wrote and which I wrote, but I know for sure, it gets blurry, I know for sure that they wanted to divide it up because the Republicans thought they could pull unusual sounding names. So they divide it up into unusual sounding names, and then it says Rodriguez as an example. Because for certain white people, Rodriguez is an unusual sounding name. This one I'm almost sure I made up. But as long as we're doing diligence, we'll let it float. They wanted future felons of America, because now without the Voting Rights Act, people who have served time for felons don't get to vote. So future felons, now this is something only the father of voter supremacy could imagine. So you got everything. You got your observable category, you did your diligence, now let's make the fucker go rogue. So it's always good to go rogue with a tweet from Trump. So the first tweet we got, we're gonna hit our observable premise, we're gonna hit it with a little, flavor it up a little. So the tweet from Trump says, every absentee ballot is going to have to bring a doctor's note. Without voter rights, we can go back to Arkansas, and if you're a black person, then you're not going to have any problems trying to guess the number of jelly beans in the big jar. That's voters can now do that if the states say it's okay. So my darlings, we got everything together. We got the, actually you guys have just graduated from my master class in how to build a satire. And here's your graduation present. You can all carry a gift from me for having gone through the class. You each one get the guaranteed certifiable old people's joke you can tell. Here's the joke. You tell it at your own risk. This is what they say. They all laughed when I said I wanted to be a comedian, but nobody's laughing now. You get that. That's your gift. So vote these suckers out, huh? Vote these guys out. And stay away from that Trumpicana orange juice. The only climate these guys are protecting are climate deniers. That orange juice has got 20% more arsenic, 100% less EPA. And if you think you're too revolutionary to vote for Joe Biden, Angela Davis is voting for Joe Biden. So guys, I want you to go home, go postal, only in the good way. What do we got for these guys? All right, we're going to call it. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming.
Encore.
Thank you, darling.
Encore.
I met Danny at the Atheist Dating app. You guys ever use Missing Link? I was attracted to Danny's aggressive, progressive profile. And I know Dan liked that little tattoo. I have a tramp stamp in the back. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I'm starting to get them invisible ink because I got so many. I got a new one that said Van Gogh only sold one painting. We had to put it on top of the tattoo that said combat, not just for roaches anymore. But Dan was attracted. I know he was. I have this little tramp stamp in the back. I don't know if you guys can see it. Says what every 78-year-old woman wants and needs. Abortion on demand. Good night, darling.